Um, I too think I wanted to ask, have you worked with your decorator before? Is
Yes.
Paolo
Paula
Enriquez?
Enriquez.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
you have. So you have a language, you have a history with your decorator is always nice. I feel.
Absolutely. I mean, it's hard to repeat the same crew
Yeah.
because we're sort of out of sync. Some the production designer's job can sometimes be a lot longer, and there are all these things happening. So it's kind of it's not like we've done a ton of movies together, but we've done a movie and we've done a lot of commercials also together. So yes, there was, and also obviously Paula was key also here in
Yeah.
dialing into this process and presenting thing. Um, and I think in the beginning, maybe she was a little frustrated about it was not being clear where we were going, but we were still dialing into it.
Yeah.
There was a ton of references, but she was certainly part of the process also of narrowing down and sort of we did a ton of presentations in the beginning of all kinds of directions for this.
Mm.
But in the end, also the location is so it has so many big surfaces, and then we sort of started playing with that. There's a lot of many times there are less sort of big surfaces in big colors.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's you have
and
such bold choices in this film. A really bold. I mean,
Yeah, it was fun because it's
yeah.
normally it's just not like that, and this
No.
is fun, but I also mean there was a lot of stuff that had to be dialed in. All of those colors we shot them and looked at them again in a what do you call it, a test shoot and so on. And then after the test shoot, we were all quite okay. This is it. It's working. Let's
Yeah.
go. Because we had a lot of green from the jungle, and
Right.
then we opted to stay with the red. I like the red and the white because I felt that it was colonial, but you couldn't really say it wasn't particularly Spanish colonial. It could also feel sort of Britannic colonial. It's the exact same colors of the Danish colonial because that also exists. Many people don't know that.
Mm.
I didn't do it because of that at all, but it just kind of worked that you're somewhere in the Caribbean on one of these little islands that they were very strategic when all of these colonial powers were running around and doing stuff in the Caribbeans, and then it's
Right.
sort of left and forgotten. It got sold. It was so it feels like one of those places that could exist in the Caribbean. Like Disney could have bought it or somebody
Right.
else, and then turned into a mansion for somebody and then sold on, and then suddenly this guy gets it and says, okay, I'm going to change it up a little bit and make it more funky for my friends, but we got to keep the vibe there and things like that. And so he flies out a decorator and say, what can we do here? That
Yeah.
was kind of the idea.
Well,
And that he wants to be a little bold,
right.
that's why it
Well, it's
um,
like they go back and forth with that red chair a little bit. Yeah.
yes, that was so that yeah, because that chair is so silly,
Yeah.
and it was very hard to make a chair that's you have to really notice it, and it has to look like okay, this is modern design, but also it shouldn't be there, it's kind of
No.
like it's off, and the
Well,
design is actually a little off. It was a little difficult to design something that on purposely was uh,
off.
yeah, because it might ruin your set.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an annoying piece to have, but then at the end, I think it worked out like that. Its purpose, it serves its purpose.
This opening scene when they're in this huge white room and
Yeah,
it's red tablecloths and seating and everything, I think sets this tone of like, to me, throughout the film, I started to feel like, well, she's white and he's red. Like I started to associate characters with the colors or somehow. Because then at the end, there's a little bit of swap with the colors at the end in this room. But I love the graphic look of this. And I was like, oh, they must have put in that bronze door But you also put in the white door, which I didn't know till I saw your photos.
Yeah. No,
You
it was the other way around. The bronze door's there.
bronze door was there. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is this space?
It's
This is
made
a
by
museum?
sorry?
Is this a museum you shot
Yeah,
at?
it is. It is.
Oh,
Yeah, and this museum, and this is where we have to throw a shout out also to our location manager Juan Pablo, which usually they don't get a lot of shout outs in art
no,
department's conversations. You know, decorators, prop masters,
really
absolutely, you
intricate.
know, painters. But in this case here, this was really important for us to find a museum which had to be in Mexico City, but that really felt different from the island, and that could be it was supposed to be everywhere, but anywhere. Sorry, but it was important. It had like a very sort of important feeling to it, you know, and it needed to feel important. And then there's the whole thing about the artwork, because there was so much we were doing on the island, which is sort of faking it.
Hmm.
It was nice to have a real location in to start off in. So having real artwork, it was important for us. Most of the artwork is by August Rodin. It's actually
But
one
the
of the
Rodin,
biggest
yeah.
collections in the world.
I love
So
Rodin. There's
yeah,
a Rodin. I'm from Philly, and there's a Rodin museum there that is fantastic. And I actually thought about those bronze doors. I was like, oh, they look like the Rodin ones. I wonder if he was thinking of that, the bronze ones. Oh, that's fantastic.
yeah, and they're sitting there, and it would have been totally impossible to move it. The
Yeah.
challenge in there was that then we got very little prep time, and the lighting didn't work. I mean, the local lighting, the lighting in the museum did not work for us.
Hmm.
So that meant we're not allowed to hang anything from the ceiling.
Mm.
So that meant making a truss sort of structure, which then we had to clad
Oh, wow.
in order to make it disappear and create the main scenes where she falls over and those kind of talking things, all in between the statues.
Right.
What was like that. So it was very much like some kind of it was very, very planned. It was like some tactical sort of planned strategic thing, you know, going into that location basically and setting all of this up and being out again, you know, very, very quickly. I don't I think maybe it was half a day's prep or overnight or something. We shot at night for some reason.
You have two huge scenes here
Yeah,
with a lot of extras. So yeah,
yeah.
a lot. That's a lot to do. And then they move over to the island. Well, they're in an airplane, but then they move over to this island. So you you get this location, and then
Yes.
how long is the prep to prep all of this to get your color scheme?
Well, we went on a scout first of all to check it all out, and uh, we saw possibilities, and but there was still a lot of stuff to figure out, you know. But we all agreed this has to be it because this will make this much more interesting. Um, and then you know we played around with you know the pinks and the blacks and the you know the bold statements and so on, and then we ended up staying with this deep red and and white as the base. Um, and then there was a little bit of yellow also somewhere on the location. And we decided also to use that and to find a few more. You can see even the title is yellow,
Hmm.
um, and the towels are yellow. It was sort of became our accent color to sort of highlight things. And then the blue is like the off color, the alarm color, the something's wrong color, you know?
Right.
Something's weird here, you know, then that sort of became the basic things. And there were colors that combined really well together and obviously went well with the jungle. So
Yeah, because you're keeping everything in the same hue, but they're
yeah,
still bold on themselves. It's really great. And then
And then of course we have a lot of really natural colors. We have natural fabric, we have wood, we have a lot of stone, which is local marble from Yucatan,
That's
um,
beautiful.
and so on. So
And you had a hell of a food stylist. I mean,
well, this was an interesting thing also because we actually we tried a lot of restaurants and opted for a local uh, collaborate with a local restaurant called Nectar in Merida.
mm,
Um, so that was interesting too. Obviously, we did have a food stylist because it's not the same thing, doing restaurant food and doing film food.
yeah.
And also, a lot of our food scenes happen with really low light, and so
Yeah.
that means that a lot of the colors would just go into sort of brownish colors. So also there we had to have very graphic food
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, I think you have pictures a little later of the plated
Yeah,
food, which is gorgeous.
yeah,
I mean, the scene too with the back of the house and it's a little bit more overgrown in this lovely pool area. Did
yeah,
you add those greens?
yeah. We did.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
to make
there was too much red in
yeah,
that case here, so we needed to break it up a little bit. We loved it, but with this we had to break up, and it still got little accents of red. Also, we had red flowers in it.
yeah.
But here the challenge was getting totally rid of all the hotel looking things because the location is actually a hotel. So we took away all the railings, all the signage, and then all of the marble you see on the side that wasn't there.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
we had to place that, and also we had to place it in a way. Oh, you mentioned sorry. Your first question was actually about the time we had there. I think we only had 3 weeks in the location. We prepped in near the location before that, but I think it was probably only about 3 weeks inside the location because it was a hotel and it was pretty expensive to shut down.
You prep and shot and wrapped within three.
No,
Oh, you
no,
just
no,
prep.
no,
Okay,
no. We prepped in the location in 3 weeks.
okay. And
We
then
prepped more. We prepped for. I think I had my whole crew for 6 weeks,
mm,
and I probably had 10 weeks in total.
oh, wow.
Um, and then my decorator probably had 8 and so on.
Yeah.
But we had I don't think we had more than 3 weeks in the for sure we didn't have more than 3 weeks inside this location hotel.
Wow. That's a
And
lot
we
of
only
work.
had 1 week to wrap it up.
That's
And so putting down this marble was a bit of a risk actually, because it needed to go back the way it was. So first, so we it had some other stones that weren't right. So basically we put a layer of first of all we put sand and then black plastic and then some more sand on top of that, and then we just had big marble slabs lying on top of it.
they didn't
The,
keep it. You made it so
no,
nice.
thank
They
you.
should have kept it.
No, which we actually we tried to sell the idea that we were
Yeah.
able to put it down for real because then we could just put cement and
Yeah.
and then our marble on top of it. But no, we they
Let's do it.
no.
So
So
so many
so
places.
bas so
So many
basically,
times when you do location work, it's like, oh, I hope they like this so we don't have to take it down. That's like,
I think maybe it was because they couldn't take a decision before the shoot, and then
yeah.
afterwards they liked a lot of it. But still, we painted all the rooms. All the rooms were white in here.
Oh.
I like that about the hotel that it was very true to an original hacienda.
Hmm.
It had, old iron beds. Not it was very authentic. I would say less modern boutique
Yeah.
than what we needed it to be. I got inspiration from many places in Yucatan. There's some wonderful boutique hotels.
Well,
Everybody should check that out.
did
So
so you added the marble on the sides
yeah,
to the pool, and then in this area was the built-in bar there or the
the
pillars there?
sunken bar was there,
Uh-huh.
uh, but the pillars were different.
Pillars
No,
are
sorry, the pillars were there, and we had all kinds of ideas about those pillars also. We could cover them with greens. We even thought about putting mirrors on them.
mm.
And in the end, it worked better just to leave them the way they were. No, over the bar area, we changed and put different lighting in there and added, the vines and flowers and everything.
Oh yeah, really made it
Uh,
more tropical and more like lived.
yeah, this sort of tropical chic. In the
Yeah.
beginning, furniture. I really love Brazilian furniture designers. Was sort of very chunky and so on. But in the end, it just developed into this. I mean, we looked at so many, day beds and
Did you build them?
chairs and furniture. In the end, we did, yes.
Wow,
The lower
beautiful.
part, the lower part is actually sort of a mid-century cabinet,
Yeah,
and then it just has basically the other part on top. It's our own invention.
oh, they're beautiful.
It just seemed like we didn't want it to be real mid-century, and also there's not a lot of mid-century sort of pool furniture, is there?
I I'm doing a cruise ship right now. I know a lot about outside
Okay.
furniture, and there's not a lot of like a design going on there.
Yeah.
They're super modern, which is like and then like the chunky and the iron and the white and then
Yeah.
like the ones
Yeah.
that fall apart. So I'm very into your lounge chair there.
Yeah.
It's
That's our
beautiful.
own invention. Yes. And
Yeah.
then also the wood is also local wood from Yucatan
Mm,
called
yeah.
salam.
It's a beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you kept with the green there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we wanted we had so many
Inclusive.
skin tones also on this movie,
Right.
so it was important that they all look good in this because everybody looks good in this movie. So
Yeah, they do. They're all beautiful people. So
yeah, everything is so beautiful. So that's why that became like that. Yeah.
I love these fixtures.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a picture of the dining area with these three gigantic bell type fixtures over a long dining table. Um, and I had so many questions about the fixtures, and I was so happy to discover that you built them,
Yeah.
and which is I think is gorgeous. They're so gorgeous, and I don't think I knew till I looked at your pictures that it's candles lighting them. I never really saw that. I don't know if I saw this angle of your picture in the film or I missed it or something, but
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be candles in some of them, and then it's light in another one because they have this thing about the light going out all the time.
mm,
Um, which the
they,
backstory is he set up all these panels of supposed to all be his own electricity, and then the generator doesn't work and things like
mm.
that.
The
But this
candles
was
definitely give such a romantic type feel to it. I know a lot of times in decorating, it's hard when they want a lot of candles and how
yes,
much light are they going to give off, and then replacing all the candles to make them
yeah,
look the same scene, like it's
yeah.
a nightmare. So I appreciate when there's a lot of candles on the table. So I know the work that goes into it. But
Absolutely. The double wick and the mini candles. And
yeah,
luckily, these were already burned down. And you can see we used a
yeah.
lot of
But
fat
look,
candles so they would burn slower. It's,
yeah, the when she's on the table dancing and those
yeah,
lights are above her though,
yeah.
it's so gorgeous. I mean, that did you painted them gold inside?
It actually is kind of copper, but because
Copper?
they have
Oh, they're
warm light,
gorgeous.
they became more goldy. Um, and this was a conversation very early on I had with Adam, and we were actually talking about the pool area, and he was saying,
Yeah.
I like big lamps, and I like bold sort of lighting and stuff, and that's just stuck in my mind. And then it was like, well, what are we gonna do? Because this whole area is set there because um, the location didn't have a very big interiors.
Hmm.
So for this, we decided that it was probably better to do the big interior scenes on stage, also
Mhm.
because we have a fire in there. And then, and this is of course a listed building. And then we could do the dinner in this area, which actually looks very similar because this is the industrial area of the hacienda. There are some
Mm.
big machines there. And this is a building that it only has three walls and the rest is open. Like it never had a
Yeah,
fourth wall, this
right.
area. It's not like it fell down or something or they restored it. It was always like that. And we found it really interesting to be able to, first of all, have jungle behind them at some point,
Right.
and then also shoot from there. We had some ideas about there being almost like a voyeuristic sort of looking at them from out in the jungle when we were still in the mysterious part of the movie where the audience doesn't know what's going on and everything is just weird. But in the end, we just love this, and here we stuck with the aged look because the other stuff, the hacienda has had a part, some parts that had been done up, and then had other parts that were kind of run down and all of this, and we wanted to give like a very pristine look in the facade, at least for the opening.
Mm.
And then there were other places where we said, well, maybe this should be more worn,
But
as you
like the
go into the
texture you
movie.
gave it on the wall.
Well, this was already there. We
That's
just leveled out a few things
great.
to have it blend in.
Mm.
But the main thing was already there, so we stuck with this with the texture in this one.
How big are those are like how big are those lights? Like six, 8 feet
Um,
tall, 9 feet tall?
they're probably yeah, they're probably 9 feet tall, maybe 7 feet diameter.
Wow.
And it is it's just fiberglass basically.
Mm, they're great. They're
Yeah.
so great. Did they keep them? They keep them up?
No,
No. Ah,
no,
this,
no. This is in the case of those ones, they were they,
no,
they, they were just they wouldn't last. I
yeah.
mean,
Mm, right.
so
And you built
uh,
the table, which I always appreciate because finding a long table is
yeah,
always
it's very
so
hard.
fun.
We did build them, yes. I would have done those lamps differently now because I'm a
Really?
little wiser. Yes, I would probably done them in paper mache.
Mm.
uh, because just this whole I'm just trying to be more sustainable. So,
Well,
but
I hear you, but look at that.
yeah,
I mean, they're
yeah.
fantastic. I mean,
But
I mean,
I
it's
think it's also that one is careful about making paper lamps and filling them up with candle lights, but
yeah, I think
so,
that might be, but I think, I mean, the scale of them and then like coming down on
yeah,
them is so representative of what's going on too. Like I just and everything that happens at that dining table and what you discover in the story, it's just very impactful. So
yeah.
I love, love, love those
Thank
lamps.
you.
You had a sculptor do the statues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the statues, we were very clear in the beginning, Zoe and I, that we really like Giacometti.
Mm.
But that was just a no-go getting near anything that looked like Giacometti at all. So I had to do variations and pass them through clearance, and they actually had a complete head at one point, and then in a desperation to get through clearance, I sort of cut off from here, so
Oh,
they got these strange heads in the end.
yeah,
So,
clearance.
but they made them more freaky, which was
Yeah,
the point.
it
So
does. It does, but they're great. And when they're lit, they're great. Here we're looking at a page of the food and the food styling, which is also intricate because they're having these dinners every night and they're eating well, and you think you're being, treated very well with the food, and the one guy's a chef, and yeah, I thought about
yeah,
yeah. I'm on
they
a cruise ship, so we deal a lot with food right now too, and I'm
yeah.
like, this is an expensive scene. It's on and on.
It was important straight from the
Yeah.
beginning. And I mean, the fun part was, we were out scouting and we got to go to a lot of restaurants.
Oh, that's good.
And it was a
Always good.
difficult choice. It was really a difficult choice because it was almost like doing a casting. And 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 then the thing is also that they speak a lot about the food. Well, one character does, and the others don't really care about it so
Yeah,
much.
it's true.
And then there was also sort of the guilty taste of some of the characters, which is why there was something a little naughty about some of the dishes or something quite plain about it. We thought about doing some really simple things also for them, especially the desserts like the strawberry shortcake and
Mm,
and things like that. And the other was just a bit graphic. Also, again with the chicken, the whole thing about the chicken and the killing of the chicken and stuff, we wanted it to be like very graphic. Here's the dead chicken,
yeah.
and you can really see it. So
And there's also like with decorating and what plates are we going to use and the flatware,
yeah,
and it's a
yeah,
whole thing to elevate it and make it, not take away from what's coming on the plate. And it's there's a lot of conversations when you're doing food.
yeah. There was a
Great.
lot of sessions. There was a lot of
Yeah.
sessions with food, which was fun to
Yeah.
do.
It's a
And
whole
then
nother.
yeah, but it's difficult to do it, on the spot,
Yes, it is. You have to
and
prep that.
and it's a long they're long scenes they have, and there's a lot of characters in there.
Yeah. You got to prep this. This isn't like, oh, what are we shooting today? This is like you need to know what you're going to the store for.
Yes,
Uh,
and we have to make sure also they don't get ill, you know.
yeah, you're eating cool. Yeah,
So
exactly. This and we're looking at the big room, a set illustration. So this is your concept. Are you rendering these? What are you using to do these? Because they look painted, but they're rendered.
yes,
What are you
I
doing?
am. I sketch digitally on top of
Okay.
a computer
Nice.
3D thing. It's a
Yeah.
mixed media, I would say. Some of it's also just Photoshop. You
Yeah.
throw things in at the end, but
Beautiful.
it's sort of working the space in 3D. I mean, first of all, there's sketches.
Yeah.
Uh, so just rough pencil sketches, and then there's the whole 3D world still sort of frustrates me many times, that it looks so cold and so on.
Yeah.
But it also has many advantages. But
Yeah.
I always feel that I need to go in and do a thing on top of it to sort of get the full expression of what I'm
This.
trying to sell.
Yeah. Your color choices for his rooms to then take him into the blues and then the check floor. What are
Yeah.
those choices about?
Well, first of all, there's some inspiration from the real location.
Mm,
It's kind of, you can say it's the same architecture as the interior rooms, but we made them wider,
mm.
bigger, for this. But there's definitely a lot of inspiration from their location and from the main house at the location.
'Cause this is
Uh,
a build,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
this
these
is a
are
total build where the terrace is a match from the location because they have a lot of going in and going out, inside, outside,
oh,
and
right,
doors open. And so we took a photo from the location and printed it out. So when you looked out through the doors, it was mainly through the doors, through the windows. Because they have blinds and stuff, you rarely see out.
right.
So it was basically just for the door. We brought some grass, some plants, and so on. Um, but in here, because the red chair needs to stand out, uh, like really stand out, because I also like red on red or red on burgundy and so on.
Yeah,
But but also we did have a lot of red in the movie, and it was nice to do a little change thing. This is sort of their hangout, and this is like his private place area. Um, so so that's why we tried this. We had a deep blue also at one point in a render, and then this just worked better for the whole lighting and the different processes of the movie, because of the scenes that go on in this space, because we have daytime with the light flooding in, and then nighttime, and then the lights are off and candle lit, and then it's on fire. So it needed to work for many different things. And the thing with the floor was the chessboard was very important at some point in the movie. It's a little less important in the final cut, but and that was already this color. And then when we're talking about what we should do to the floor and different options, at one point I said maybe it should be. Did I say checkered, or maybe because something came up where it was checkered or chess or something,
Mm.
and so instantly caught on to and said, yes, let's do it like the chess, exact same colors like the
Yeah.
chessboard, because then it's like it's nobody needs to sort of really understand it, but there's a little underlying thing there with
Yeah. The
he,
chessboard that Christian Slater's playing with that girl.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so then it's a kind of like, okay, real characters on this one, and they're quite big squares. So
oh yeah, now we have more of it. Yeah.
yeah,
It's very it's a very calming room, I would say.
yeah,
What's going
yeah,
on. It's
yeah,
a
with all the rest going on. Yeah,
yeah. And funny enough, like designing that chair, it does sort of go with the sofa and the chunkiness of it, but it is awkward. It is wrong.
yeah,
You nailed it of like it's right but wrong. Like, and the
yeah.
obscurity.
It's right. It's wrong, but it fits its purpose.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Mhm.
And so is also the wardrobe of Gina Davis' character is also, you know, totally off.
Oh yeah, she's weird.
It, it's totally weird. It's totally off palette, which is fun. I was a little resistant in the beginning when I heard it, and then it's perfect because that's her character. It helps, in a
I
way.
I didn't even know she was in it. I was so glad to see her.
Yeah,
And then I was like, oh, I hope she's in it more. And then she's got a pretty intricate part there. And
yeah, yeah. She's
yeah,
she's so good. She's just
yeah,
good.
she's really good.
Yeah,
They're all really good in it. I really
yeah,
liked it. I was like, I really like when you're like, I kind of know what that movie's about, and then you see it and you're like, I didn't know that was what it was about, and that was really good. And I do really appreciate that the thing that goes on in the movie isn't like thrown in your face and like a lot of it is shown. There's a lot held back for your imagination, which is
yeah.
always worse, which it could always like makes it worse. There's only a few flashes of what's really going on here. And I think that's great. I think that's such great storytelling. And I applaud the writer or director, whoever's decision that was. I think that's great. It's our imaginations are always better, I think. You know?
Yeah, and it's taking you, it's lulling you in as a spectator. You're sort of
Yeah.
you're on it as well. You're kind of dragged into it, and it just flows, and you're sort of totally accepting everything that's happening.
Yeah.
You even though and then it's suddenly you feel, oh, but I know something's gonna happen, and the
Yeah.
characters also kind of knows it's wrong, it's
You
wrong,
know it's
but it's just
coming.
so nice. It's so nice, and it looks so good. It's like that was the concept. But it's funny, the whole thing. It's such about the all the actors and all the characters. It is such an ensemble cast, and it was a challenge because so um, we had this location for these 3 weeks, and the last week the cast moved into it. So we had it for the first week. So I stayed there with the constructors and everybody the first week. And then it was sort of a gliding process the second week where we had maybe ADs and producers and Zoe and Adam and so on. And then the last week, the cast was there already, and they were doing rehearsals, and we were doing the last test shoots, and there were stunt rehearsals, and there were acting rehearsals, and um, pre-lighting. Everything was going on. But and then, I mean, by that time we were quite happy to move out actually, because it's in the middle of nowhere. And
Yeah.
then they were just there like some kind of strange reality show, all together, for the next
That was
5 weeks, which we were there, and then we had a week in Mexico City at the end. But there was definitely a balance in there, and it was also fun to live in a location to sort of really feel it,
Yeah, I'm sure that had some impact on your, especially with lighting of like, oh, look at the light coming in, how this, what time of day are we going to be here? Or,
Yeah,
this should be a night shoot. Look how great this looks at night. Because a lot of times, maybe locations will go out and take night shoots too, but sometimes when you're there, you could
yeah,
really take advantage of things and when you see it. So, yeah, I'm sure being in that space 24/7 helped
yeah.
any aspect. But yeah, no, that's great. I mean, you don't really get that opportunity a lot. So
No, no, no. This was very special in that sense. It's a very different. It's more similar to doing theater or traveling circus. I
yeah.
mean, it did have that intensity to it. I mean, all movies are special in some way, and this really had something, like that. It was very special like that. So.
We're looking at pictures of his office that it was a build to, I believe, right?
Yeah,
This
yeah. This is connected to
is
the
off
other
of the, yeah.
room. These are the
And
two small rooms off to. One is you barely see it. It's basically just a shoot off, a little bar area, and so on. And then his office is the other direction. Yeah.
what was the thoughts of artwork?
Well, that's so difficult because we're not allowed to use a lot of it. So basically, the big David head is kind of, it's public domain now,
Yeah.
but also it's a bit of a pop artist thing. It's a bit of a statement having a giant David's head,
Well, yeah.
in there. So
Yeah.
and then the other stuff was going darker,
Yeah.
inspirations from Francis Bacon or weirdish people and so on, so it's all nice and colorful, and then it's actually quite creepy and
Yeah.
weird once you get into it. So the decorating part, and then in the other room it was just merely sort of decorating blobs of stuff in the background,
Yeah. More
shapes. But
abstract and
yeah.
yeah. No, it's
uh,
very interesting of like, oh, it's a little bit creepier when you get into his personal office. It's just
Yes, and then this statue that she hits him with.
yeah.
Well, there was more stories about that originally because it was supposed to be the Pillar of Integrity, was supposed to be the name of this
Like on
award.
his desk there. It's
Yeah.
this, right?
Yes, and then it became like, well, what if it's the Pillar of Integrity, but then it's kind of shaped like a giant penis, you
Yeah.
know?
That's what I thought it was. It was like,
Absolutely. And then
how
so then
phallic.
Absolutely. So then when we went to the Rodin Museum, we saw a torso of sort of a twisted, dynamic torso. And from one angle, well, it did look like a big penis. And we said, we're gonna have to have this. And we asked permission to actually said, yes, that's public domain, whatever. Okay, great. So so it's
That's
that.
great.
So
Because
yeah.
usually if you're using things with not good intention, they're not into that.
Absolutely, but since it's he
But
can't
yeah,
come he can only haunt us in
yeah.
a dream. So in
And well, the other thing is, I mean, it does read as a penis, but it's so dark
yeah,
that your mind sort of wanders. Like, do I just think it's a penis, or is
yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
really like
No,
you
we
can't
played
really
a
see
we
it?
yes, we played a lot around with that. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
that was
It
good.
it was more explained at some point, but then
Oh no, I
but
didn't.
then it just sort of the cuts, there were mini cuts, and this one really goes with the flow, and there's a lot of unexplained things in it, and it just works, there's stuff sacrificed always. There's a lot more scenes inside the sauna, and then at one point there was no sauna at all, and now the sauna is just in there as a little extra.
Yeah. They're only like a one pop in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really.
So
The bedrooms, Frida's bungalow that you did, this color blue is so perfect and like tropical, and then the big white netting for the beds, and it's really beautiful and plays
thank
off
you.
the floor perfectly, I thought.
Yes, I mean the floor is a location floor, but and so finding colors that could go with that was difficult. And this blue, we did go through a lot of different, and we had to do some quite big paint samples on the wall and actually, photograph them and, make sure
Yeah,
that on film they would appear the right way. So,
they're beautiful. And so
and very
simple, like
minimalist furniture also. Yeah.
this it's so simple. And then the bathroom with the white stone and the
Yeah.
blue walls. It's so pretty.
Again, it's the same marble on the floor. We cheated. It's just scenic. We
Mm,
we put a I don't. Yes, we had some mats also, but I think the floor is just the MDF basically.
mm.
On the floor in the bathroom didn't work, so it's kind of softer to fall on than. And then we also had some painted mats for one of the falls.
Oh, right.
The bathtub to the right, that's the real. That's there. And then I mean, this is just a Photoshop, but
Yeah,
in
this
the
is illustrated, but
yeah, but in the but I think it was pretty good the match of
oh
things.
yeah. And then this is Jess's bungalow with the
Yeah,
green
yeah.
and playing off the white netting. And then she also has the checkerboard floor. Was
Yeah,
that there?
that was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Wow.
was there. Yeah, all of these rooms were white.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, which is very authentic, but not very good for us.
Yeah. No.
So and hotel manager loved them, and then asked us to paint them back to white again. So
It's so perfect. I mean, with the white seal, like the ceilings. Well, I think you did a color on the ceiling, right?
that was actually there. We decided to keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, many times, don't you find also in movie that there are things you find and then they stay because
Yeah.
it's like, I would never thought of that, but that's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
That's usually how it goes. They like
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
do. They always ask to keep the curtains I have. I feel like they always,
I'm pretty sure they couldn't stayed, yes.
yeah, they always ask.
Also, yeah, also the beds also stayed. I mean, we can't really see them, but we made the beds. So,
Hmm. Oh, beautiful.
um,
And then you have, so did you did you paint the exterior of their rooms? Because it's very graphic too. The
yeah,
yellow.
we repainted this little part and the facade.
Mm-hmm.
And then in other areas, we stuck with the worn down.
Mm.
So
And then this, like a hut, was this like a, oh, what
this
is,
is a hut. This is a traditional Mayan building. This is as big as the Mayan village houses could go. And then they're very interesting because they have curved endings.
mm.
So
And then you
uh,
had to custom build those shelves in there, I'm
yeah,
assuming.
absolutely.
I never quite understood what was in the bags, but I think that's probably good.
The inside the bags, they're gift bags to
They're
the so
goodie
then they
bags
can
of like pictures of your time
the
there.
the perfume so they can take it home and spray it on their wives.
Oh, nice. Nice. I get it now. Nice. Be awesome.
Yeah.
Here's the sauna.
Yeah.
You built the whole sauna?
Yes, we and the
Oh,
decking.
that's beautiful.
The little pool was there. Yeah.
The little pool was there. You built the
Yeah.
sauna. I love this picture.
Yeah.
Too. This picture's great graphically with the blue. They have
Yeah.
blue masks on. They're like in a spa getting their nails done, and then this like green jungle behind them, and this beautifully modern sauna behind them. It's like, oh, I want to go
Yes.
to there.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of saunas in Yucatan, I can tell you that.
I mean, that's where you want to be. Why?
Yeah.
I can see why they're there.
Yeah. And why they're not leaving?
Yeah, pampered. They're there. Well, at one montage, they're eating dinner after dinner. You're like, how
Yeah.
many nights are they there? This is crazy. But yeah.
Well, we had 3 dinners in total, but it is montaged differently. I
Yeah,
think also the edit is brilliant. It did bring an extra layer to it.
yeah. It does seem like they were there a long time. I don't know. And then the inside build of this sauna is gorgeous with all the wood slats and the glass at the end, and you can
Yeah.
see out the one side and
Yeah.
ugh,
Yeah,
I'm
there was a whole other scene in there, so that got cut out. But so then, and at one point there was no sauna at all in the cuts, and then they just use it for extra sort of luxury montage sequences.
ugh, beautiful. And the airplane, which plays in the beginning of the
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
So, did you have to build the whole thing or redo one? A lot of
No,
times
we
you redo
we
them.
built the whole thing
Ugh,
for the seating was important.
yeah,
It's still following the color scheme of the museum.
red
And
seating.
yes, and the Slater King logo and all of that. So King Tech, it's called. So because of that, there was just nothing. It actually ended up being as wide as like a small commercial airliner rather than a jet.
Mm.
But it worked well, in the shot,
Oh yeah.
because there's not a lot of shots in it actually in the movie.
It's an expensive build for such a short scene. I can
Yes.
know that. I've done airplanes too. It's an expensive
Yeah.
shot for all that vacuum forming and all of that. Like it's a
Yeah,
lot.
but it needed some traveling, and it was more difficult with the whole crew thing. We could also have gone and shot some airport and or something, and in the end, they cut out all the rest and just had this.
Mm.
So we did in a way slim down, but then it was all thrown onto this.
Because it's all custom upholstery for all the seats and everything. It's a big job.
Yes, yes, yes. But if you ever get a chance to come down to Mexico and work, then you'll find upholstery is a big thing down here.
Oh yeah? Like
Yeah.
easy, like everybody's into it?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is one of the things I love about being here, that it's like let's just design the sofa and have it made, instead of having it fly
Yeah.
in from Italy. It's much cheaper. So,
Oh, nice. So trade, like there's great craftsmanship, you're saying. Yeah.
absolutely,
Oh, that's
absolutely.
great.
So
That's great. Here we have a montage of different plates and all of the champagne glasses and props and the chessboard, which is intricate, the Polaroid camera, which was intricate. Um, so many flowers. I mean,
yes, yes.
flowers. That's crazy. And there's
Well,
your
that was because supposedly the pollen for the for the perfume they make
is
is comes from this flower. And there's these stories about this flower. This whole thing comes from an existing flower from Colombia that
Mm.
supposedly you can get marked by us to smell this flower, and then you go totally off. You're kind of drugged, and then they just take your wallet, and you don't remember anything.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's,
And then the snake.
yeah. Rubber snakes. We had
Snakes.
always fun.
How many
Um,
snakes did you have to build? A lot.
Not
They
so
got
many. The lower parts in that basket is some, I can't even remember what it is. It's something rolled up and painted. I think maybe we had 10 snakes or so on. So one with the mouth open, and then it was puppeteered, and then we also had a real snake. But there were more graphic shots of the snakes being smacked at some point with
oh,
the champagne bottle.
right.
Yeah.
Because yeah, so you had to have extras.
Yes, and some with the mouths open, some with the mouths shut, most of them are dead. They're just holding them. So
The woman was holding them at the end, or not at the end,
yeah,
in the middle.
yeah.
Um, I do. I'm so glad that you sent all these. So thank you for sending because I only had like 10 pictures. So thank
Okay,
you.
good.